culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on the fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
In this year's owners' meetings, not much has changed in the NFL landscape, but there were a few big decisions made. In an attempt to massage the egos of the refs union, the motion to make roughing the passer reviewable was rejected. It doesn't matter. We all knew it was going to be like reviewing pass interference a few years ago, where only a play or two was overturned and blatant PI wasn't because reasons. You will, however, see more potential ref ball and players with the number 0 on the field. There will also be no gradual cuts down to the final roster in the preseason from 90 players, which should keep starters fresh for a probable wave of injuries in week 2 of the season. Speaking of changes that no one wants, there's a chance that Thursday Night Football will have flex scheduling. It's more than likely going to be up for vote in May, and would give teams at least 15 days notice of a change from Sunday to Thursday. This would be terrible for the game, but remember, the dollar is what drives the NFL. TV rights fees are far more important to the league than the fans, and we all know it. It'll probably be reality barring a miracle. On to the NFC's moves. I could talk about many things regarding the Jets offseason. I could discuss signing Alan Lazard and McCole Hardman or trading away Elijah Moore, but we all know what we're waiting on. 4 days of darkness has turned to 40 for the entire NFL world, and the saga everyone wants ending. When will Aaron Rodgers be traded to the Jets? This deal should have been done by now. Rodgers stated on Pat McAfee that he wants to be in New York. So what's the holdup? Trade compensation. Green Bay still wants a healthy draft pick selection for him despite having no leverage whatsoever. I could go on about how Aaron was missing throws left and right last season and had his worst statistical output since he wanted McCarthy fired, but it's still an upgrade, I guess. As a result, we can't judge the Jets offseason until this deal goes through. Although it would be absolutely hilarious if they somehow lose it. It'd be both the best and worst thing to happen to this franchise in a while.
New York Jets! Jets! Select Will McDonald, linebacker, Iowa State. Let's go! Yeah!
A hidden cost of the Aaron Rodgers trade. Swapping first-rounders with Green Bay cost them a chance at drafting a needed offensive tackle in Broderick Jones. It was a month in the making, but Rodgers now gets a different shade of green like the guy he replaced in Green Bay. To aid him, select another edge rusher in this class in Will McDonald that is needed to keep up with the Joneses of the division. If it weren't for the fact that the Patriots robbed you of your true need, may a song fill your hearts with joy as compensation. Will McDonald is a Jet. Jets, Jets. History often repeats itself. And it's not because we don't learn from its mistakes. It's because we feel we can improve upon the results. The second coming of a legendary Packers quarterback was foretold in the stars. And like Favre, Aaron Rodgers has chosen to mend his trade in North Jersey. He brings with him a caravan of chums. And together they reassemble the 2015 Green Bay Packers. Something just feels weird with this team. In theory, this should be a return to relevance. All the Jets really need is quality quarterback play to right the ship. They brought in Dalvin Cook to pair with a returning Breece Hall because of it. But is Rodgers really the right quarterback for these guys? He was missing a lot of throws last season, and miscommunication ran rampant. If things go south early, I fully expect him to bitch up a storm on Pat McAfee. If there's something that Aaron loves more than winning, it's drama. And we're not talking Corey Davis abruptly retiring. Get the popcorn. One word comes out of my mouth in regards to the AFC. Stacked. It's going to be a goddamn bloodbath in this conference. And it can be argued whomever makes the Super Bowl will win it outright. Regardless, predicting anything is somewhat of a coin flip. In the AFC East, regardless of competition, the Bills are still the best in class in my opinion. AFC North, barring more injury to Joe Burrow, Cincy takes it with their elite offense. The AFC South, it's Jacksonville's to lose. They have to win it by default, right? Although we did say that about Tennessee last year. And the AFC West is a Kansas City affair. As usual. Wild cards, though, they're really hard to gauge. Pick them out of a hat, I guess. Ravens, Chargers, and Jets. Why Jets? Because this is usually how ridiculous it tends to be. Sue me. I'm sorry for all the teams I jinxed as always. I regret nothing. Of course it did. Monday Night Football is the scene. The New York Jets have great expectations this season. With the young talent on their roster and an elite defense, all they needed was a quarterback to get them to the next level. Zach Wilson spent his time being an immature shit and blew his chance. They need a man of experience. A champion eager for a fresh start. The hunger of 1,000 beasts voraciously consuming them whole. Aaron Rodgers is that man. He desires New York. And the Jets have assembled the 2015 Green Bay Packers to suit his interests. Nathaniel Hackett, the famous refugee from Denver, back to be a yes man to the man that made him relevant. It is time. And Buffalo may be in the way, but they'll be a tough opponent. Bills are even hungrier than the Jets were. And that's no small feat. Last year's brutal disappointment must be avenged. A team that had gone sideways after pushing all of their chips to the center of the table is doing so again. Josh Allen is their franchise, and they will go as far as he will take them. It all leads to a Week 1 matchup at MetLife Stadium. Don't discuss what happened here the night before. Giants fans are still sulking over their dreams being shattered for 60 minutes. However, today is a new day. A day of optimism. A day of excitement. A day of remembrance. 22 years since the greatest drama of a generation. Entering the field, Aaron Rodgers looks like the goddamn Great Kazoo, yet has all the riz of Hulk Hogan fighting the Iron Sheik. You just want to root for this guy as he goes to hunt Bin Laden. The intensity is palpable. Jets fans are excited for the first time since the 9/11 memorial opened. Let that sink in. But enough talk. New York's defense stymies Buffalo on their first drive. The time has come for Aaron to lead them to glory. The Rodgers rate will be unlocked. 75 seconds. It took just over a minute of possession before everything was ruined. The worst case scenario happened, and he was unable to complete a pass for his new team. 4 days in darkness, 4 plays until darkness. Optimism immediately destroyed by their one glaring weakness, the offensive line. My God, who knew it was a bad idea to have geriatric Dwayne Brown as your blindside tackle? The dude was coming off surgery after playing through injury last year. He just started practicing 2 weeks ago. Sadly, that's far from the worst problem they have. Aaron's injury looks insanely serious. His calf looks like it was a plucked guitar string. Ending his season? That might be a career ender at his age. There's only one explanation for this. Occam's razor. God hates the Jets. I don't care if MetLife's terrible turf just got replaced this offseason. Burn it again. Raise the stadium to the ground and move to where the Red Bulls play or something. This land is cursed. I was legitimately interested to see how Aaron would do here. And after this, we may never know. Just a brutal, brutal way to go out. With all momentum quashed, the Jets must rely on the black sheep of the family. The MILF Man. This Jets fan is all of us at this point in time. We've been robbed. Jets defense, you're gonna need to move mountains in the wake of this tragedy. They bend a touch, but do enough to hold them just before they can do serious damage. A field goal will be acceptable, but considering they lost what they felt was the final piece, it might as well be 30 points. After this point, it may as well resemble the turf at MetLife. Mangled and miserable beyond comprehension. The Jets can't get anything going on offense for a litany of reasons, mainly due to said terrible offensive line. But Buffalo? Josh Allen was infected with a wonderful spirit in this contest. Rex Grossman. No, don't run for the easy first down. Fuck it, he's going deep. And overthrowing his receiver by 10 yards. A fantastic arm punt. Joe Flacco is watching somewhere with pride. This is when the national audience remembers that Breece Hall is really good at running the football and might have been Offensive Rookie of the Year last year if it weren't for injury. A beast of a run. And then everyone remembers that their quarterback is Zach Wilson. They cannot capitalize. A field goal is kicked to tie it back up. Josh Allen and the Bills then decide to stop playing games. They are men. They need to assert dominance. They're going to T-pose and push for the end zone. Methodical and efficient. And Allen reverts to the form that made him a rich man to help Buffalo re-secure the lead. But can it last? If it's up to MILF Man, that answer's yes. Matt Milano saw that ball and snapped it away like a hawk eating several baby ducklings. That's the kind of misery on display here. By the way, have another field goal by Buffalo just before half. The Boo Birds are flying down like rain in the night. The Jets know that their skill players will have to do the work. And that they do. Hoping to God that Zach Wilson doesn't do anything insanely stupid with the football. He doesn't, and they kick it through the uprights for 3 points. For them, this is like winning the Powerball. But winning the game? A fool's hope, but still a hope.
Allen gets rid of it down the middle. It is picked again by Whitehead.
Josh Allen keeps arm punting to his favorite receiver Jordan Whitehead, then maybe they do. He's going back to year 2 for him. And this is with Sauce Gardner having a poor game. I don't get him. He'll pull this shit and then try to Big Ben leap 5 yards shy of the first down marker. I think I know why. Madden curse. Bucket. Can New York capitalize? No. Good for them, Buffalo can't solve the Jets' no-fly zone either. Things seem bleak for MetLife. Josh, we know they've gotten a lot from you, but they're going to need more.
Pass is picked again. Guess who? Number 3 for number 3.
Throwing to his favorite receiver, Jordan Whitehead again, his third reception of the day. That'll boost the spirits of this crowd. The Jets are even doing things with the ball on offense. The hearts of everyone are going back to original size. Garrett Wilson is getting the ball. Little did we know he moonlights as Inspector Gadget.
Garrett Wilson. Wow! What a catch! Touchdown, Jets!
Did he just do what I think he did? That's goddamn unbelievable. Zach Wilson threw a duck. Garrett played cornerback, swatted the ball away, then extended the same hand to fling it back to him, cocooning the ball for 6. Jesus Christ, we're tied. Tied. Without Aaron Rodgers. Say, Josh, do you have any more fuck-ups you can give to this crowd?
Here I come to save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
And it's recovered by the Jets. The call is fumble.
Dude went to the same culinary school famous Jameis did. Turnovers for all in attendance. I'm not joking, it's been his MO since the start of last season. The Jets can bury Buffalo right here. They got the first down on a 4th and 1. Another first down ends it. Can they do it? Unfortunately, no, but they do take the lead with a field goal. And do you really trust Josh Allen with all the bullshit he's pulled tonight? I don't care about his reputation and talent. I'm going to be skeptical until he proves it. Guess what happened? He returned to form. Even as Stephon Diggs commits the sin of OPI, he evades relentless blitzes for the final destination. Field goal range. A 50-yarder. The leg of Tyler Bass will have to be true just to survive.
They don't take it. Bass hits the upright. It's good.
That's definitely a way to tie the game. Hitting the left upright Parkey style and banking it in for 3. President Bush is being alerted as I speak. Overtime awaits. Somehow it awaits. In atonement for alleged slights in a playoff game in 2022, Buffalo wins the coin toss. They do jack shit with it. The no-fly zone is still in effect. Now, only if the Jets didn't have to trust their offense to do the impossible.
Sam Martin corrals the snap. It's a short punt. Gibson on the return. Near side. I don't see any flags. Gibson inside the 30. Hits the Jets. And he's gonna go! Jets win it! Touchdown! Rookie Xavier Gibson! Game over!
This was magical. On 9/11, a New York team defied all odds after suffering a terrible setback and rose from the ashes to show the world they will stand tall. Mirroring reality so well it could be called propaganda. This really is the greatest game. Not in game quality, but in terms of drama and storytelling. If Hollywood penned this script, it would have been panned as cliche and unrealistic. But truth is usually stranger than fiction. Speak all you want about so-called asterisks and missed penalties, but the Jets deserve at least some comfort in life. Let them have this win. I think they've suffered enough for it. Josh Allen blamed himself for the loss, and he isn't wrong. But it felt like fate was guiding New York today. Besides, the biggest losers were in a Wisconsin bar. If the Jets lost, they drank for free. After Aaron went down, they drank the state dry. Beautiful karma. Oh yeah, Aaron. A torn Achilles was confirmed. A Pyrrhic victory of Pyrrhic victories. The Jets may have won the greatest game, but the cost may be far too great to bear. But time will be the judge of that. If Aaron Rodgers were playing, he would have had a good chance of keeping the Dallas Cowboys under his boot. People tend to forget he owns them as much as Chicago. However, the Jets can have no nice things. New York's terrible O-line would have probably beaten the shit out of him if he were dressed anyway. They're all gonna be taken down by a mighty star. The Cowboy defense, like last week, was relentless and merciless, slaughtering everyone in their path. Nothing left standing, releasing mustard gas to suffocate their opponent with extreme cruelty. This was no contest. Dallas effortlessly crushed what was supposed to be in front of them. They'll defend Zach Wilson in the press, but he didn't do himself many favors under this onslaught. Dallas simply capitalized. The thing is, they're probably right. Wasn't much of a quarterback problem, more than an everything problem. New York's game plan for the season was Aaron Rodgers. Well, what happens when plan A breaks apart in the first charge and you have no plan B? Well, you get morning sickness and endless regret. A tropical storm is going through the Northeast. And unfortunately, it can't wash away the stains of the miserable quarterback situation on display. Zach Wilson is dog water. Not even in the traditional highly touted disappointment sense, but in the he literally cannot move the football forwards approach. It's a repeat of last year's disaster against Jacksonville. The Jets are routinely treated like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football. As always, the Patriots are losing. We really thought it was going to be different this year. Alas, God hates the Jets. And the only movement involving the color green will be in the dentures of their fans. New England didn't even do that much. They'll keep it within reach. Please, take the lead from us, they'll say. We really mean it. It's right there, Jets. Just take it. But Zach Wilson will piss himself and eat safeties in the pocket. The situation is unraveling. Garrett Wilson and Michael Carter are rightfully pissed about this disaster on the sidelines. And you'd be too if your QB threw a fucking check down on a 4th and 10. Even as they lose in humiliating fashion to the Pats for the 15th straight time, Robert Saleh will not change his approach. Zach Wilson will be his starter as they march off the cliff. An amputated Aaron Rodgers would honestly be better. He might have been able to move the ball forwards. Who's ready for Taylor Swift? Are you sick of her yet? Too bad they'll be adding a T-Swizzle cam next week. There's also a football game happening as well, but this is the Chiefs. They'll run out to an early 17-0 lead. This is when the NFL has a big brain moment. The Swifties watching can't see another meaningless blowout. Ref ball must take center stage in all facets. Begin the nudging. This offensive holding that started out of the end zone is now a safety. This is supposed to be a horse collar on the defense? He doesn't even touch the pads. They missed a blatant offensive face mask penalty. This is true gamesmanship. Not to mention the scriptwriters allowed Zach Wilson to not be total booty cheeks. He actually looks pretty good. Crazy to think. Before you know it, the game is tied. Thank you, Patrick Mahomes, for being sloppy as all hell. Now they just need to make sure the Swifties get a happy ending. Did you seriously believe they'd let the Jets win? They'll let the players ad-lib for a bit first. Kansas City takes the lead in the field goal, and Zach Wilson makes the first real flub of his game with a botched snap. Now time to make sure they don't get the ball back. Oh, look over there, a big scramble by Patrick Mahomes on a 3rd and 22 while missing blatant defensive holding on the play. Another 3rd and long for the Chiefs. He threw another bad interception? We can't let that happen. This is defensive holding. This is borderline bullshit. Didn't even throw the flag until the pick was made. For the Swifties watching, this is the golden rule of the NFL. When in doubt, ref ball reigns supreme overall. Robert Saleh can have a conniption on the sidelines all he wants, but he can't comprehend the expert game manipulation on display here. Keep it close and let the team the new fans want to see win. You couldn't write a better script. Except if you wanted any sort of game integrity. Everyone circled this week on the calendar for both teams. The ultimate showdown. The former hack that wasted a season for Denver versus the current one that's getting a pass because he has a better reputation. Despite the ballyhooed promotion, he is wasting another season for Denver. At Mile High, an alleged football game was played. Allegedly, these are two teams that have playoff aspirations. These playoff aspirations apparently mean the Jets' offensive line leaving Zach Wilson to die in rust cooking safeties by means of intentional grounding and failed red zone drives. Here's the thing, Sean. You are correct about Nathaniel Hackett, but if you're gonna say it, you better back it up with evidence. What is your evidence, Mr. Payton? An offense that's only interested in executing itself? Once again, you fixed Russell Wilson at the cost of everything else. Don't think about it too hard or else it's gonna fly past you like Brees Hall smoking you for a 72-yard touchdown run. The Jets are giving you chances to come back into this game. It's the trail of candy to lead you to freedom. But then you overthink it with trickery that proceeds to execute itself. Sadly, you don't have the Steelers' endless supply of horseshoes stuck up your ass. But the Broncos' defense holds. Somehow. And the Broncos' offense manages to score a touchdown. Somehow. I know, shocking displays of competency from this group. You even get a chance to make a death-defying comeback drive thanks to a Zach Wilson interception. Do you do it? Of course not. Chef Russ eats a sack and the Jets score. You wanted to get on the ride? Well, you forgot the golden rule. The ride never ends. Nathaniel Hackett gets his revenge against an arrogant foe. In spite of himself mostly, but it's still revenge. We all saw it coming from a mile away. This game played out like every single goddamn Eagles game this season. Jump out to a sizable early lead, inexplicably have everything on offense turn to shit, then slowly toy with your prey instead of going for the kill. Another day passes and another game where Philly fails to play a full 60 minutes occurs. Leading 14-3 against a Jets team without a real QB should be pretty much over. New York's defense was without Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and more. So why are the Eagles simply choosing to lie down at the first sign of trouble? This isn't even playing down to competition. The Jets defense is simply taking advantage of a lax opponent. And take advantage they do. Only if they had a real quarterback that can corral the offense instead of simply kick field goals. Wouldn't know anything about that, though. The Eagles' second half of offense was misery incarnate. Fuck-ups on top of fuck-ups on top of fuck-ups. And this is with Jalen Hurts being salmon covered in Vaseline. He and the defensive line are apparently the only ones pulling their weight. Their secondary's at least excused. It's down to practice squad fodder and XFL regulars at this point. Even then, the Jets can do nothing with it because, you guessed it, they don't have a real quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is developing advanced immunization techniques to make his Achilles heal faster in response. Either that or he's helping to make Philly's offense keep fucking up. They must have given all their power to the Phillies or something because we're nearly back to the Stone Age from this group. Either that or they're saving it for January. Gotta win the games you lead, though. But everything's fine. All you have to do is bleed the clock out and you can win.
Hurts facing a four-man rush. Over the middle, it's intercepted! Picked off by Tony Adams! Adams on the run! Breaking tackles! Tossed down inside the 10!
Of course, the one thing they couldn't do, they serve on a silver platter. Supposed to imitate 2016 Carson Wentz, Jalen, not the 2020 version. This goes to show that on any given Sunday, great teams can play like absolute ass and hand a win to a team that have been craving any sort of hope. If you keep toying with your prey for that long, your prey ends up eating you. I'd have hope for the Jets, but let's be real, they're in the same situation as last year. They have everything except an O-line and a quarterback. History repeats itself. This was a game. It was one where you wish Bane would just blow up the field to relieve us from the pain of watching it, but you cannot deny that it was played. This might legitimately be one of the worst football games I've seen since last year. Grotesque, deformed monstrosity that should have been euthanized simply so it could no longer feel any sort of pain. It was partially great defense for both sides, and more neither offense unable to understand the core principles of football. All that will be is Breece Hall scampering for a 50-yard passing touchdown. Otherwise, it will be pain. Literal pain when it comes to Tyrod Taylor. I ask again, what the hell did he do to earn the constant wrath of the football gods? As the Madden ambulance runs over 3 players to take him to the hospital and to the next man up in Tommy DeVito.
Who the hell is Tommy DeVito? Is this Danny's kid or the guy from Goodfellas?
Ponder this as you yearn for the first down. Anything from either team. There will be nothing but offensive death until the start of the second half. It's here where Saquon puts forth a Herculean effort to will the G-Men to the red zone and its fruits with him. Touchdown, Tommy DeVito. Giants up by 3, where it would stay thanks to more awful offense. At least the Jets are trying to throw the ball, but are handicapped by a bad O-line and Zach Wilson. The Giants' defensive unit is stuffing everything in sight, but their offense is suddenly chicken shit. They're setting offense back to days before the forward pass. Even Pop Warner offenses feature more creativity in the attacking game. Guess how many passing yards they had in the day? -9. You and I, sitting on our asses, pondering the patheticness of our existence, threw for more net yards than the Giants had. And the Jets can do nothing to take advantage. The fourth quarter is winding down. And we yearn for either team to convert a damn third down, but no one can. The Jets can't even convert a fourth down. And the game should be all but over. Sadly, Brian Daboll has lost his balls. You have a 4th and 1, the Jets have no timeouts left, and you're kicking a field goal? Brother, if you convert the 4th down, you win! Missing the kick is icing on the cake. The logic itself deserves to be scored. And then the defense self-destructs. Long pass by Wilson and offsides on the Giants, which stops the clock. Then Zach Wilson suddenly adds more offense with another long pass, and the agony must continue. Because a terrible game deserves terrible overtime. Don't worry, the Giants can't do anything, but they try to throw the ball, which is shocking in and of itself. But do we really trust Zach Wilson to repeat what he did on the last drive? The Giants do more than enough on their own. Please, oh Yeller, this game.
Kick on the way, and it is good!
And they nearly missed that kick. The Jets get more false hope because the Giants literally could not offense at all. What a disaster for the G-Men. What happened to the cojones you had in Buffalo, Dable? Why waste that outstanding defensive effort? Are you trying to get yourself fired? They're one step away from QB sneaks on 3rd and 9. How poetic.
It's done. Yes, Mr. Frodo. It's over now.
Consider this the typical New York Jets scenario. A prime opportunity to gain favor in the AFC East is at their doorstep. All signs point to a game where the Chargers will bend the knee. The good news is that they do. They bend the knee into their spleen. As much as the Jets are a machine, they don't have an O-line and they don't have a quarterback. Against this front five of backups and poorly meshing parts, the Chargers looked more like the defensive juggernaut they paid to have. Zach Wilson died, then sucked ass, then died again. Not to mention New York, for some reason, decided it'd be a great idea to rub their hands in Vaseline before the match. The only jet flying was the lost F-35. The worst part is the defense did its job, but New York couldn't move a muscle on offense. I can hear the coping now. Just wait until Aaron Rodgers comes back, then we'll be good. Did you forget about how shit the O-line that got him injured is? How fast the Chargers front four ate them alive? Aaron's gonna be congealed to the turf by the end of the first game. The New York Jets, screwing the pooch and making Brandon Staley look like a genius. The greatest crime of them all. The New York Jets. That is all that needs to be said. Those 4 words will make any fan of the game understand anything that they do. In an ideal world, the Jets would have taken this team out to the woodshed and beaten them by more than 1 score. However, these are the Jets. Any opportunity they have to shoot themselves in an artery, they'll do so with pleasure. Chances to score touchdowns undone by brutal penalties. Zach Wilson missing easy passes that could have turned the tides of war. Careless mistakes aplenty thanks to CJ Uzomah and Nathaniel Hackett's play calling. As always, the Jets defense is suffocating a rookie quarterback and giving their team every chance it can to win, yet the Jets keep happening. LOL Jets is a constant. No matter what they do, there will only be us laughing at their failure. It was only a matter of time before someone was allowed to score a touchdown. And it was the Raiders, who fed Josh Jacobs like a man possessed tonight. Like most other games this season, New York has chances, but their offense keeps stalling out. Imagine if they had an O-line, a quarterback, a competent OC, and some discipline. Just imagine. This defense is doing Herculean work forcing a fumble to give them another chance. And Zach Wilson is ready to evolve. You may have seen him check down to oblivion, but you haven't seen his final form.
Zach Wilson throws in traffic. It's picked off by Robert Spillane. Spillane taking off. He's down at the 40-yard line.
He checked down too hard. I know you don't really have a choice, but are you sure this is the guy you want to triple down on? Seems to me that they're too prideful to admit they fucked up on the pick. To be fair, they probably would have fucked up on any QB they picked in 2021. Only because Robert Saleh doesn't know how to manage a game clock with a damn. Burn off more of it, why don't you? That's your season burning into the ether as well. The Raiders steal the win and get back to 500. What the hell do you mean this team's 500? There's some great news for Buffalo coming up. Despite how rough they've looked over a good bit of time, they have the perfect antidote for their woes. They get to play the New York Jets at home. With this fortuitous fortune in their affairs, the Bills can rehabilitate their image. They can take it easy and pick apart their opponent's stout defense slowly but surely over time. All the Bills D has to do is let the Jets keep tripping over themselves. It's so fucking bad, my dudes. Zach Wilson has gone from absolute crap to somehow even worse. This guy's a deer in headlights behind this trash heap of an O-line. He literally can't throw a football anymore. The fucking punter threw with more authority and precision than he did. With every Bills possession ripping apart the defense, Wilson offers absolutely no confidence since he nor Hackett have an answer for it. There wasn't much hope left, but this may be rock bottom for his career. Zach wasn't just benched in the third quarter, he was replaced by a guy who's known for holding a clipboard and looking professional. Tim Boyle. Fucking hell. New York's defense finally breaks and Buffalo is delighted to watch their opponent be killed by wild animals. More so that it gets them back into playoff contention for the time being, but it's only a start. Most opponents aren't as broken as the Jets. On an interview recently, Tom Brady bemoaned the incredible amount of mediocrity in the NFL today. Not only am I gonna say that he's one of the major people responsible for the state this league's in, he was too nice in his assessment. The level of shitty play I've seen in the past few years makes me wish for mediocrity. A good chunk of these games have been unwatchable. Black Friday, what a great day for football. I can't wait to sit down and watch Tim fucking Boyle start at quarterback. Somehow, some way, the terrible Jets offense got even worse. Colin Kaepernick, 7 years out of the NFL, would have unironically been a better option. Hell, Vinny Testaverde would have probably been better. The Jets defense is the only thing keeping them relevant at all. Thank you, Tua, for gifting easy picks on out routes to them. But you know what? I should be more positive. Tim Boyle can say one thing to his grandkids someday.
Meanwhile, he just tries to get away from everybody, throws it into the end zone, into a lot of traffic, and there's a pick on the other side. And coming back from the end zone is Holland, and Holland is out to midfield, and Holland is inside the 40, and Holland is inside the 20. Can you believe this?
He threw a 99-yard touchdown pass in the NFL. This is peak Jets. A rubber stamp of complete fail that comes once in a full moon and epitomizes why this team should contract. They threw everything in a golden goose that tore his Achilles before he laid eggs thanks to a terrible offensive line. What do you get with an all-in push like this? Jet sweeps off the damn field. A microcosm of the New York fucking Jets. Lolcow of the week, this is a Lolcow of the year nominee. Anyone who's a fan of this team should be entitled to compensation. Raising your kid to be a Jets fan should be classified as child abuse. Miami won, but America lost by being addicted to shitty football. The Dolphins have still proven nothing, but it doesn't matter. Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas have no answers and are going to be sent to the guillotine, justified or not, for this failure. Woody Johnson loves him some good scapegoats. If you ever want to know if a game is miserable, just look at the stadium it's being played in. Whenever MetLife's involved, you're all but guaranteed to watch something terrible. Desmond Ridder versus Tim Boyle in peak football. I should clarify that it's pure sicko mode pigskin. An acquired taste that goes beyond the comprehension of the average fan. Why score offensive touchdowns when you can generate safeties? The supposed best the NFL world has to offer in what could be classified as a form of torture. Inept play abound in soggy conditions as both offenses try to figure out how to crawl out of a play-calling womb. The absolute worst game I've seen since Chargers-Patriots. The unfortunate thing is that both teams aren't put to death immediately. That mercy killing is only for the Jets. We'll now refer to this era as a boil on their ass. Trevor Siemian gets revenge for the start he got knocked out of in 2019 by leading the Jets to another loss. Atlanta won in spite of themselves, which further confirms that Arthur Smith put all his skill points in the luck trait. It's so bad in Jetland that Zach Wilson doesn't want to go back in. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is totally gonna fix this. He'll die in the first drive again if he returns. We've only got 5 weeks left in the season from hell itself. That means the playoffs are about to be seen as we crest over the hill. And then the race to the finish will truly begin. The AFC is a mosh pit as we all expected. Right now, Miami is the current #1 seed by tiebreaker, despite questions that linger. Baltimore, after their bye week, is slotted at #2. Kansas City and Jacksonville, after some rough losses at home this past week, are the final division leaders at 3 and 4. The 3 wildcard spots are bunched up, as the Steelers, Browns, and Colts are all 7 and 5. The Texans are also 7 and 5, but the first team out. Denver, Cincinnati, and Buffalo sit on the fringes at 6 and 6, and the Chargers and Raiders are kinda there at 5 and 7. This is the playoff situation, and the madness is only going to amplify. There's only one rule, and sadly the Panthers didn't follow it.
Don't get eliminated!
Tell me if you've heard this story before. It's a rainy Sunday at MetLife where all forms of offense go to die. Despite rumors spreading like wildfire, Zach Wilson is indeed starting this football game. Zach, blink twice if you're being held at knife point to play. Like all matchups in this hellhole, there are only misery and injuries. The first half happened. That is the only positive that occurred in the first 30 minutes. If it didn't end, we'd have been stuck in an endless punting loop. The fortunate thing is that Robert Saleh gave the Jets offense some of his secret stuff to do this revolutionary thing called moving the football. What is this I'm seeing? Zach Wilson not being complete ass? This is unbelievable. It's almost as if he's showcasing the talent that made him a second overall pick. Or it could just be the magic of the Houston Texans finally running out. Their greatest weakness seems to be really shitty opponents. I don't know why, but they turn into a pumpkin in these scenarios. Not to mention Nico Collins' calf gave out on the first charge. I'd say it couldn't get worse, but CJ Stroud's been struggling immensely against the Jets defense. They gave him a concussion as a parting gift. As General Mills flubs everything, there's only one way to wash this week off: a liquor shower. Well, this is gonna take a bit to sort out. Scriptwriters are generating so much hope that it could power a small town for years on end. A mediocrity carousel that'll make your head spin. The age of upsets brings us endless mosh pits. In the AFC, the Ravens seem to be the only team capable of separating themselves from the rest. Miami had a chance to match them, but they choked and are stuck at number 2. But that's only because the Chiefs and Jaguars have been in a state of freefall as of late due to a variety of reasons. The first wildcard spot standing alone are the Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns. Gotta love overcoming adversity. Speaking of adversity, the Steelers have self-imposed it on themselves, yet are somehow bullshitting their way to the 6th seed. Even zanier Indianapolis holds the final spot by tiebreaker. It's a 6-way tie for 2 spots. The Texans, Broncos, Bengals, and Bills are alongside them fighting for a chance to move on. Welcome to the mess, kids. We've got 4 games left. Only 1 spot's been clinched and 2 teams are out. Buckle up. Keep your hands inside at all times. And one more thing.
Don't get eliminated!
Miami is the classic schoolyard bully. Find the pipsqueaks in the playground and pummel them for their lunch money. No Tyreek Hill for Miami, no problem. The Jets are absolutely destroyed in every conceivable formula. Their quote-unquote offense needs no explanation. Zach Wilson was sentenced to die by a Dolphins group seeking vengeance. Their O-line merely a swinging gate seemingly pissed at him for not buying them Rolexes for Christmas. Their defense has been carrying for so long they just said fuck it and checked out. You know something? I don't blame them at all for quiet quitting. The Dolphins just walked in and smashed the rubble into a fine powder. That rubble had a Zach Wilson clinging onto life in it, so he's out for Trevor Siemian. Tell me, is generating a hard-earned 4 yards at halftime against a defense that collapsed last week good? It's hard for me to tell. Not only buried alive, but covered in flesh-eating bacteria and left to be consumed by maggots. The only image burned in their heads as they erode to nothing is Stephen Ross doing the waddle. Aaron Rodgers is gonna come back to this? Yeah, fucking right. New York, you got your wish of a franchise quarterback. Too bad you wished it on a monkey's paw. Worst passing offense against the worst passing defense. Only one can retain their title of suckitude. And it's looking like Washington's not only holding that belt of shit, they're packing it in and making hotel reservations in the Bahamas. Next to no one on the commies seems to give a shit. And it shows by folding 20 points to the Jets in the blink of an eye. It's less New York doing well and more just taking advantage of fuck-ups. Sam Howell, how do I put this? In 2 weeks, he's gone from the potential future QB of the franchise to wondering if he's even going to get another serious chance. His gunslinging abilities are shooting less than blanks. Shooting his eye out. Carson Wentz in the clutch vibes. And Rivera's still trying to win in the blaze of glory, so Jacoby Brissett goes back in for the burnt Faker Mayfield. It's still a 20-point game. There's no way Washington's coming back into this one. With Jacoby's backup Brisket, be serious for once. The Jets blew it? What the hell? I know their defense has stopped giving a shit, but to the point of active sabotage? Okay, this is getting a little too ridiculous for our liking. New York's keeping Saleh and Douglas around, so they'll get the final drive for meaningless platitudes. Just kick the damn field goal and end this shit.
In his 12th NFL season to try to save the day for the Jets from 54. Good snap, good hold. The kick from Zerline is good.
A game that shouldn't have been close to a game. Both teams should be given L's for the spirit of Tank Bowl. Much shame to the Jets. I'd be bashing the commies just as hard, but their secondary's doing more than enough of that for them. With how much bullshit Cleveland's had to deal with over the season, no one would blame them if they simply folded and called it a day. But this team is different. A group down about 2/3 of their entire damn lineup, and their kicker and punter had their moment of vindication. And it's thanks to the elite arm of Joe Flacco, the true hero a city desperately needed, taking the reins of $235 million deadweight and steering the ship away from a perilous course. The key is in his affection for a good tight end. They should be thanking their lucky stars. In any other situation, they become the Jets. The wasting of this defense needs to be dissected thoroughly. They've literally stopped giving a shit. Boasting a scheme of cover 0 fucks given. Going through the motions and opening the gates in a classic fuck you I quit move. With how awful their offense has been, I honestly don't blame them for it. They'll allow the Browns their moment. Who knows if they do anything in January. May have reached the end of the Belichick era. The expiration date got hit a while ago. But he's got one last trick up his sleeve. A game bogged down by heavy snow. In the old days, the hoodie would have tucked and mucked his way to a win by any means necessary. But that magic is long gone. What we get in its stead is simply death. The end of life. The end of offense. The end of anything resembling the empire of old. Only it's decaying remnants executing themselves in quick fashion. Brees Young stands tall, dominating in this miserable setting. And in the abyss, there are only hollow victories. The New York Jets finally beat Belichick and the Patriots after years of trying with nothing to play for. Jets fans were hoping this year would have been something special. And to be fair, it was. Just not in the ways they wanted. I do have a trophy here for you as consolation. A vintage injury bowl. It's the only thing you've won in over 50 years, so I'd honestly shut up and take it. Hope was infused into the orifice of every Jets fan at the start of the year. Aaron Rodgers pridefully hoisting the American flag as he's introduced to an eager home crowd. A decorated champion will lead them to a glorious future. For 4 plays, Aaron spent 4 days in darkness, and the Jets spent 4 damn months in it. Turns out that offensive line they neglected was their undoing. Many football fans want MetLife Stadium and especially its turf burned to the ground. I argue the Jets organization should burn alongside. It's a literal repeat of 2022 for them. An incredible defense wasted by terrible quarterback play and anemic offense. The blind leading the blind. They got Rodgers' baggage without the ability. Every offseason acquisition they made for him backfired. Without their golden goose, they brought in imitators, but none could move this congealed stone. From Zach Wilson to Trevor Siemian to Tim Boyle, their season was nothing but a Fail Mary. A desperation heave returned for a 99-yard pick six of pain. After some time, the defense just quiet quit and gave 0 fucks. With how much they've had to carry this franchise, I don't blame them one bit. Another lost season. And the Jets are going to run it back with the same staff in 2024, but will it work? Aaron's going to be 40 in the fall. If they fail to fix that O-line again, he's going to tear his other Achilles in 3 plays.